all day.
What's up, guys? Welcome. If you've sold on eBay long enough, then this has probably happened to you. You get to the end of the month, and even if you pay your fees and your bill as you go, sometimes at the end of the month it just spikes, and you're like, what the heck? And this happens to me all the time because I noticed this was happening. So if you go in and you look at your statement, you will see that the invoice for the month that you pay, like, I don't know, sometimes I pay like $1,000 or more on my invoice at the end of the month. And this is racked up from final value fees, it's racked up from insertion fees, it's racked up from FedEx shipping fees, and it's racked up, I believe that's the main things that go into it. But whenever you click on your statement, and you can click on your balance and then click on your statement and pull it up, and you'll see that it's broken down, and you can see like all the final value fees and what they added up to. And there's a section there that's for shipping, and the shipping that's charged for you is actually the FedEx shipping that you purchased previously in the month. And so you aren't actually charged what you click and buy for FedEx on eBay when you click and buy it. So I noticed that at the end, some of these prices were different than what I had agreed to pay earlier in the month. And so basically, when you purchase a FedEx label, it doesn't really go active until it's scanned and used, and then they basically adjust anything in there that needs to be adjusted. And so what they're doing is changing the price of the FedEx label that you purchased. Like, say you purchased it July 1st, and then your invoice comes on July 15th, like mine does, and that's how mine works. That's how mine is set up. So if you purchased, say, like $20 shipping for an item on July 1st, on July 15th, whenever that invoice goes final, you might find that it's actually $25, and you're like, what the heck? So FedEx is definitely readjusting what they charged you, like what you agreed to based on the dimensions you put in. They're gonna weigh it and measure it themselves and change that all. So it's very, very important to be 100% accurate and precise with your measurements and your weight, or you could get slapped with a huge uptick, because there are thresholds, right, where the price jumps from, say, 20 to like 120. And I've learned this the hard way on a very large item, that the eBay tab glitched and it didn't give the right third dimension. So it thought the package was going to be like, I don't know, 20 or 48 by 24 by 12, when it really needed to be 48, 24, 22. And that extra 10 inches of dimension changed the dim weight so much that the package went from being $25 to being like $180. And I got royally screwed by this, right? And I just want to tell you the cautionary tale so that you don't do it yourself. So every month when you get your invoice and you can check your statement, go on there and look at what FedEx is charging you, because sometimes they make mistakes. I've actually had it where I can go back and prove to them what I said I was buying and then what FedEx charged me for, and there was a difference. So it's very important for you to audit this and check it, because they are trying to screw us, I feel like. I mean, that's not actually what they're doing, but they are inadvertently screwing us by changing the dim weight and then therefore changing the cost of the what you agreed to purchase. And so your card, and you'll notice, like, your card or whatever you use, PayPal, to buy the shipping, it's never charged for that FedEx shipping up front. That always goes on your bill at the back end of the month. And from what I've noticed, if you are wrong, you can really get royally screwed if for some reason the dimensions you put in were below the next threshold for the next asinine amount of money that they want to charge. And so oftentimes, if you're like me, you're only using FedEx to save money, and then when it turns around and charges you 20 times the amount, that basically not only ripped through the profitability of my item, but it just made me go into the red on that item. And it made me really reluctant to use FedEx. If I had to rank the postage services, I would say UPS is definitely the best. USPS is definitely number 2, and FedEx is by far the worst. They break everything, and now they're adding costs to your bill at the end of the month. I don't know what this is going to look like for eBay managed payments, but eBay breaks down the bill and then just charges PayPal anyways, so I don't think it'll change too much. They'll just charge your eBay managed payment account now instead of the PayPal account. But I wanted to let you know that if that's happened to you and you're sure that for some reason your bill is jumping up at the end of the month when it shouldn't be, like mine was $1,047 or something, and then in the last 2 days it jumped to like $1,200, and I'm like, I didn't even sell anything in that 2 days that would have justified $200 worth of final value fees. So I went in and checked and realized it was FedEx changing the prices of what I agreed to purchase. And yes, they can do this because it's your word against theirs on what the measurement was. Now, if you can somehow prove that what you purchased was a different, was the actual measurement that they're charging you a different price for, then they'll charge you the original price. But again, I mean, unless you screenshotted when you made the purchase, I don't think they're really going to rule in your favor. But anyways, I wanted to let you know about this. If for some reason you found this helpful, go ahead and like the video or comment what asinine amounts you've been charged, or what you've done to really work around this. But there isn't really a workaround, because if you go to FedEx and try to buy there, you're just going to pay more. So really, it's just the workaround is monitoring what FedEx is charging you, double checking to make sure they didn't make an error, and then also double checking to make sure you didn't make an error on the measurement and the weight of the item. If you want to see more videos like this, I'm always talking flip content, whether it be sports cards, stocks, or actual arbitrage, retail arbitrage, and thrift arbitrage. But go ahead and subscribe to the page if you want to see that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, keep on flipping.